Hey hippies, welcome back. It's me, Courtney Shavante, and I am back with another awesome tutorial. Now, this tutorial is going to be for some super bomb keychains. We got some super sassy quotes, and this is going to be from my molds collection, which is available on my Etsy shop. So we have this I Don't Care, I'm Pretty design. We have the No More Courtesy Moans design because we are closing the orgasm gap. And we also have the I don't give a fuck what a bitch has to say about me. I'm sorry, I don't have a. I don't give a fuck what a bitch gotta say about me. So these are the three designs that we are going to be working on today. They're super cute. They have glitter backings and it's three totally different designs and everything. So I'm super excited to show you guys this design. And if you're excited to learn, make sure that you do hit the subscribe button if you are not subscribed yet. And then also hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss anything that I do put out for you guys moving forward. So not to talk too much, let's go ahead and roll out the new intro that I just created. Let me know what you think, and then we'll get started on the tutorial. Alright hippies, so to start out, I'm just going to show you guys the quick behind the scenes clips of me demolding the very first molds using this blank. So I was super excited to get these keychains out to you guys. These are for the culture and whatnot. I'm putting some super cute stuff on there. I really want some really nice feminine things, like some little sassy sayings and whatnot. So that's the vibe of what I got going on over here. And this is just the second one that I'll be demolding. These are available in my Etsy shop, so you can always search Courtney Shavante on Etsy.com, and I should pop right up. But I have these designs along with so many more, along with many others preparing to drop. So make sure that you do check that out if you are interested and you're loving these designs as much as I am, and check out the caption below for a discount code. Alright, so to get started, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and prep our work area and our resin. I went ahead and prepared 30 milliliters of resin, but I did not use it all, so just a heads up as far as that and everything. This is my glitter mix in Euphoria. It's super beautiful, and I can't wait till you guys see how it turns out and everything at the end when you see it in the sunlight. But what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to separate about 10 milliliters of the resin off into this little medicine cup, and then I'm going to add probably about 2 spoons of this glitter mix. Now my glitter mixes are infused with large and really fine glitters, so you do not need a lot when you are using it. It's not like a chunky glitter where you gotta like really stack it up. It really spreads, so keep that in mind. And you see me using the 5 milliliter little container on here. So this is the 5 milliliter, but I go all the way up to 20 as well. And I'll also be releasing some custom glitter mixes very soon, a custom option. Alright, but what I did next was in that cavity off to the right, the one that says No More Courtesy Moans, I went ahead and added a layer of resin. It may have been about 8 milliliters or so, and then from there I made sure it was even, and then I'm just going to drop in some white alcohol ink on top, and then this is just going to create a nice little swirl effect behind the words and before like the glitter layer that I'll be doing in the next step. So just take your toothpick and swirl that around to make it interesting. Spray some alcohol to break it up if you need to, and don't be afraid to, you know, drag it a bit. Just don't over stir, because then it'll get all white and milky. From here, what I'm doing is I'm going to mix the remaining resin that's left over with some black mica powder. I'm going to stir that up really well so I can make sure that you know, there aren't any chunks of the mica powder left over or remaining or anything like that. I'm also going to add in some drops excuse me, some drops of alcohol ink, so that way I can make sure I really darken that black color and make it opaque. And then I'm going to create a nice layer inside that I don't care I'm pretty cavity inside the mold. Don't fill it all the way, just fill it halfway, spray some alcohol if necessary, and we're going to let that cure. Alright hippies, so for this step what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix up about 20 milliliters of resin here. And again, I didn't end up using all of the resin, so this project really calls for less than 60 milliliters of resin. This is for 3 different keychains, so I feel like that's super dope. But what you see me doing here is I went ahead and separated about 7 to 8 milliliters of resin, and then I'm just going to color that black like I did in that previous step using mica powder and alcohol ink. I'm going to get to a nice opaque color and stirring it really well, so that way, you know, it's at the hue and everything that I need. So take your time with this, but don't over pour, because you're using a small amount of resin and you never want to use more than 10% colorants when you're using when you're mixing colorants into your resin. So once you have it at the shade you need, I'm going to just go ahead and pour this into the I don't give a fuck mold keychain, and I'm going to fill that mold so that way it's completely filled and you don't need any other layers. And I did use pretty much all of that 7 to 8 milliliters that I had poured there, so I eyeballed that one pretty well. So yeah, I was pretty happy about that. But what we're going to do with the remaining glitter mix, with the remaining resin, is we're going to mix it with that same glitter mix from before. So after you have your resin placed how you wanted, you want to go ahead and push it over. Just go ahead and push this mold over to the side so it's out your way, and then we can go ahead and work on the other one. From here, you're just going to pour that remaining resin in and then add in the glitter mix. Again, this is the color Euphoria that is in my Etsy shop, and I do have a discount code available for you guys in the caption below, so that way you can use that if I'm not running a sale. I'm adding about the same amount of glitter mix, maybe a little bit more, so that way it's really chunky and whatnot, because I want it to be a nice even layer of the glitter. I don't want the black to seep through too easily. And then you're just going to mix that up with the resin, and you want to make sure you make this bubble free, because you don't want to have to add another layer. So let the resin sit if necessary to let those bubbles pop and rise to the top, and then don't be afraid to use any alcohol and, you know, just squirt a little bit into the cup if you need to. But mix that up really well, and then you're just going to go ahead and pour these molds to fill. Once you've got them filled and everything and you're happy with how it looks, spray some alcohol into the mold to pop whatever bubbles are remaining, and then you're just going to let this cure completely. Alright, so now it's time for the fun part. We get to go ahead and wiggle these from the mold and pop out our castings. So you want to pull off any excess pieces that may have been on the edge or anything like that, just so way that you can make sure everything is nice and smooth and you don't have to do any sanding later. If you don't over pour, then you don't have to do as much sanding, so do keep that in mind, hippies, when you are pouring these castings and everything. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and prep these to paint. So grab your paint brushes and the acrylic paint in the colors of your choice. I am going to be using a gold color. I'm going to be using a white color. On this one that has the glitter on the front, that's the one I'm going to use the white. And I just went ahead and poured the white paint directly on top of the keychain, and I'm just going to use my brush to smooth this out. And you want to make sure that you push the paint into the etchings and everything. It's okay if it covers the smooth surface because it wipes off very easily once it's dry. And you're gonna see me do that in the next step, so you'll see me you know, demonstrate that and whatnot if this is your first time doing an etched keychain. So yeah, just go ahead and take that paintbrush and push that paint into the etchings nicely. Make sure it's nice and thick so the words are covered, and then you're going to repeat that for all of these keychains, and then you're just going to let this paint dry completely. Alright, so once that's dry, what you're going to do is you're going to take a damp cloth and you're just going to spray some alcohol directly onto the piece, and then from there wipe off any excess paint. As you can see, I can paint right over where the etchings are and everything comes up nicely. Now with this gold folk art acrylic paint, I'm assuming it has some latex in it because I did pull up some of the paint when I was rubbing it. So definitely be careful in those finer areas, but I'm just going to go back over it like I was doing previously, let it dry, and then wipe it right back off. So if any of the paint does come up, just repeat the previous step that we did before, and then everything will be fine. And then you're just going to make sure all the alcohol is dry and whatnot, and then we can move on to getting these domed. Alright hippies, so this right here is going to be our doming layer. What you're going to see me do is just prep a little bit of resin, just make the smallest amount that you can because you do not need a lot for this part. I'm taking my pipette and I am drawing the resin up into the pipette, and then I'm dropping it directly on top of the keychains to add a thin layer, just so that way we can seal in that acrylic paint that we used to paint in those etchings from the last layer. Now, if you need to balance your keychains on top of something, you can turn the little medicine cups upside down in order to do so, and then just rest these on top. Or really anything, if you have an even surface, you can use the even surface. My leveling board is pretty even, but the silicone mat itself does have some light resin drippings and silicone drippings on here, so using the cup just makes sure that, you know, it's completely flat and whatnot. So that's why I'm doing that. But if you don't have all the extra drippings and stuff that I do, then you don't even have to worry about it. But yeah, you're going to just take this pipette and just kind of move it around. You're going to push that resin around. You want to make sure you got it along every edge, and you want to be mindful because you don't want to drop too much resin to where it starts flowing off the sides and whatnot, because then you're going to have to start sanding and whatnot. And with these, I did not add a latex background, a latex layer onto the back to seal it and protect it, just because you know, I've gotten pretty good with, you know, adding it on and eyeballing it. But if you don't feel confident doing that, I do suggest adding a layer of the liquid latex just to have a little bit more security and whatnot. So after you finish adding on this resin, you're just going to spray some alcohol to make sure it's bubble free and smooth, and then you're going to allow this to cure 24 hours so it's completely hard. Alright hippies, so after we finish that last step and we let it cure, you're just going to take that trusty E6000 glue and you're going to add a little bit onto the bail, and you're going to glue that bail onto the back of your keychain and just press it down like so. So do this for each keychain, and then you'll be able to allow this to dry, so that way we can go ahead and get the key rings added. Once that E6000 is completely dry, you want to wait till it's completely dry. You want to take your key ring and you're just going to open up the jump ring on here and then attach this onto the bail that you have glued onto the keychain. And then from there, everything is pretty much complete. So you're going to see me go ahead and repeat these for all these keychains. And then you're just going to close the jump ring back, and then everything will be good to go. Just make sure it's nice and clamped. But ta-da! This is our final product here. We have 3 beautiful keychains. These keychains are absolutely stunning. I love how this Euphoria glitter mix looks in here. Keep in mind that all my glitter mixes are one of a kind, so once they sell out, and I will not be making them again. So if you love it, go jump on it. But I am so in love with these keychains. Like, they're so versatile. I made sure the etchings didn't overpower the keychain, so that way you could still do some really dope things in the background and whatnot, because that's just really important to me, like with my resin pieces. So none of my molds will ever have like the etchings that just overpower the mold. If you are loving this, make sure you hit my Etsy shop so that way you can grab yours as well. I have even more designs coming for you guys, and I can't wait to share even more and like let you guys even further into my mind and see what else I can create. So until next time hippies, XO. Mwah.